What's up? Let's get into these charts. Drop the music down a little bit. Let's see what we got going on today. Alright, so let's go into the charts. Looks like I need to take it off of AB. Load the chart for myself. Let's see what we got going on. Okay. Let's go into my watch list and see what we got going on for the dollar. Okay. Alright, so the dollar yesterday continued to correct down a little bit. Looks exactly what we wanted to see. We go on to let's go to the 4 hour. So we'll go daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour today. Might go into that 15-minute, possibly. It's pretty much what we wanted to see yesterday. I don't think I kept it on these charts. We'll see it on these other dollar pairs, but right, the retracement, I wanted it a little higher personally if I was going to get into any of these dollar pairs. I wanted it up into this zone, but we didn't get that. And actually, let me add the mouse real quick. Excuse me, let me go ahead and add this mouse so everyone can see a little better. All right, I wanted a little bit higher up into those 78.6, 61.8 areas. It rejected right below it and then started to move down. So ultimately, did what I wanted to do, but didn't get a chance to play it, right? So I want to keep seeing this type of movement. Okay, I want to just keep seeing this choppy movement all the way down into this area. I have the 90.62 price marked off. That's basically the broken structure. Not sure if it's going to get all the way down into that. I would be happy even with just a 200 EMA. Of course, you see this nice cross right here. So I'm going to actually keep this right here on the chart so we can stay looking at that. That's that bullish cross with the 50 and the 200 EMA. So as long as that is crossed, I'm pretty bullish on the dollar. Let me see where it's at on the daily. Not quite yet there on the daily. 1 hour crossed a long time ago, way back here. So let me put this onto just the 5 minute, or sorry, the 4 hour. So let's just take this and go like this, and then everything else. I don't want to see that arrow anywhere else but the 4 hour, really. All right, so on the 1 hour, momentum is definitely to the downside right now. Like I said, I want to just kind of keep seeing, this little trend. I want to see it pretty much hold and move down again. So, it didn't really make a super impulsive move, right? This is more of a corrective move that we're seeing. So, I mean, it could go from here. Obviously, the dollar is really bullish, but like I said, I want to see it kind of just keep correcting. Okay, so there's probably not going to be much of any setups for me personally on the dollar. If I were to play anything, it's most likely going to have to be something just like this, kind of move this down into this, and wait for these prices into here. So I'm going to put just this little area that I would look for price to maybe turn around at, and then maybe just like a little trend line right here just to show kind of the area that I'm looking for price to reject off of and move down. So I want it to come down into these areas more intraday, and once it gets there, I would expect some type of reaction. So let me go to the 4 hour and see where that lines up. That lines up really nice with the 50 EMA. So I do still want to see price ultimately get down into here tomorrow, and that might be a play. I'm not going to play it tonight. If the dollar is setting up tomorrow for this type of move during New York, which it would need to really chill out and kind of come down first and then move up, because right now it's just projected to keep going, get there by London, and I'll be asleep. I'm not going to have any limit orders on the dollar pair since it's not super impulsive, it's more corrective. So I want to see something like this during London, kind of this session right now in London, and then to move up like this during New York. And then at that point, I'll probably look to take the dollar to the downside. Another thing that could happen is this area right here. It's kind of just a little bit of liquidity, equal highs look. So I really see a possibility also of it flashing up here real quick and then slamming down. Ultimately, like I said, I still want the dollar to come all the way down, even lower than this area. That would be like the intraday spot I'd look for it to stop at. But I really want it to come all the way down into these price levels down here. So a little bit, I'm still bearish on the dollar short term. Just turn this down a hair. Okay. So EU is more or less playing out how I expected it to. Didn't quite, just like the dollar, didn't quite get into the 61.8, but it made this move down, move up, and now we're getting a move down. I want to see this move up again, basically. So let's go to the daily, see how the daily candle looks first. And yeah, it still looks like it has possibility to continue to the upside a little bit based off of yesterday's wick down, move up. I kind of want to see another wick down here and then a move up. So the 4 hour, the volume from yesterday is sitting right here. So I'll keep that there. You can see kind of a good amount of volume is in right here. And I'll put a line here so we can see the price. There's actually a good amount of volume here and here. So this is yesterday's volume at 1.1897. And that might change a hair on the 1 hour, yeah. So look, you can see right here, there's just there was a ton of volume in this area right here. So I'm actually expecting this to start to hold right here soon and move up. You can see the structure kind of broke right there. And now we're making slight higher highs and higher lows on the 1 hour. And so I'm actually, it's not impulsive, so it's not really going with my setup or with the 3 type of setups that I look for. But on the lower time frame, you can see how it is a little bit more impulsive, right? The MACD is making higher highs still. So just like the dollar, I really want this to kind of slow down a little bit. I don't want it to just creep down real fast, because there's some opportunity right here and right here as well to get swept off and then make this move up. So that's still possible. So if the dollar, or if EU doesn't kind of make a move up then move down like this, I probably won't play it. So either way though, I'm looking for it to come down into here and then move to the upside. So I'm going to mark this off. And you can see that volume from yesterday is really clean right here at this price, basically 90 or 1.1900 pretty much. Let's see here. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I would probably play it down into this area like this and look to take it up all the way up into here. So that's how I'm going to be looking for it. Ultimately though, longer term, it's just a correctional move, and playing the correction can get risky. So I'm still waiting on the price to get all the way up into this area, and it's definitely looking like it could. So it's a possibility to buy the correction tomorrow as well. AU was another one that we were looking to buy the correction. Just hide the price, hide what I did yesterday. And it has this little wick to the downside. Looks like we should start to creep up into these areas up here. So let's bring back, that's the area that I wanted to get into eventually. And yesterday, if I would have played one, it would have been AU. I didn't play any of the dollar pairs yesterday, but this was the move I was looking for, and it's pretty much playing out as well. So go figure, right? I personally wait for impulsive moves, not just structure and everything. I like to see impulsive moves, and I like to play momentum. So either way though, this is pretty much looking exactly the same as all of them. I'm going to delete this now. That played out really well. And it's pretty much a measured move. That kind of is telling me it might be ready to drop. This is like an ABC pattern almost perfectly. So there's a chance of this falling from here. It doesn't have to come all the way up into those zones that I want it to. I'm still going to play it like it's going into those zones. We're getting this break of structure. Now we got a higher low and a higher high. So that right there is a trend change on the 1 hour. Of course, 4 hour trend. That's a tiny structure. Of course, the main impulse is to the downside still. Now you can see how this is just a correction. So on that 1 hour, it's still a corrective move. Even though the structure is starting to go bullish, it's still corrective. But either way, if it can come dip down into this, I'll be looking at the 78.6 again and looking for a move up into the zone that I'm looking to ultimately sell off of. And this would be a really nice bearish flag if price does end up doing something like this. That would just be a very clean bear flag to confirm that price should eventually roll over to the downside once it gets up there. So I'm waiting on that, possibly playing the correction again. GU, I really wish GU would have came down a little bit further. That was the one that I was looking to play yesterday. So I usually just pick one of the three, either AU, GU, or EU. I don't usually like to play them all because they pretty much correlate most of the time. And then UCHEF and UJ, they don't necessarily correlate, but I usually just pick one of those and play them because if the dollar moves one way, they're all kind of going to go the other way. So I'm going to delete what I wrote yesterday. It's starting to pretty much play out. This area is still, a little valid down here, honestly. I do see like a little, and actually this would be a cipher, so let me draw it with a cipher pattern. We would need to come up here. As long as this is more than 38.2, which it is, as long as this is below 1618, that's a little high to be honest, I think. But if it comes into this area like the 78.6 right there, that's a nice little harmonic pattern to look for. But if GU does that, then the other ones might fall a little bit more as well. So that's another way to look at this. I'm going to delete this fib and look at it just from this angle right here. Looking for it to hold, but GU has a little bit of divergence, right? So the pound might get a little weak compared to what the dollar is going to do. I'm not sure. And if the pound gets weaker than the dollar, this is probably going to send its way down right here, right? And if it does come down here, I think it's a pretty okay area to look to buy. You can see the volume was right there. So I am still going to keep, this right here as well. And I'll have an alert here at the 78.6. If it comes all the way down here, I'll have a tight stop and try to play that. And if it starts to come into this area, it's not a bad look either. It's a little bit too, it's not enough room really for it to play out. I think it's looking to me like it's going to end up getting down there. So this move right here looks a little sketchy, but it's still there, no doubt. So I'm going to keep the fib there. I'm going to keep this zone there. Tomorrow, if it's showing a bunch of rejection in this during New York, then I think it might be a good play. But I think EU and AU kind of look a little bit better in my opinion. They don't have the divergence like GU does. And then let me see what this daily candle looks like. The daily candle's through that wick down there, so right, this could be getting ready to roll over. I do think the pound, is gonna get kind of weak soon, so it could get ready to roll over. And if anything, any buys on these pairs are just corrections in my opinion. So that's where you got the risk. I don't love trading the corrections on anything ever really, but if it presents a good opportunity, a good risk to reward, then it's worth it. So if anything, I'd play the 78.6 of this impulse or the 78.6 of this, pretty much this fib or this harmonic. Okay. UJ ended up going bullish. I wanted it to come down here first. That didn't happen. See what this daily candle is talking about. Yeah, making a little bit of these higher highs on low volume though. So this is kind of stop hunt like in my opinion. Not low volume, but lower volume than we've seen, and it was a bigger candle than we've seen. So usually when you get bigger candles, you get bigger volume. This isn't that. So if there's any divergence, which there is, I'm thinking this is going to start to roll over, to be honest. Let me see here on the 1 hour. The yen must be very, very weak because obviously the dollar is a little weak. So you would think this would go down, but if the yen is weaker than the dollar, that's going to send the JPYs up. So there's still a good amount of divergence on here. I have this red zone. It's a higher supply zone, so if price does end up getting all the way up here, let's just look at that. If price does get all the way up there, you can see there's been a bunch of rejection here, then I do believe we'll see some type of rejection, especially with this weekly divergence as well. So there's weekly divergence, there's daily divergence, 4 hour and 1 hour. So I'm not necessarily trying to catch the top, but if it gets up here and it presents an opportunity to drop, then I'm definitely going to look for it. Even the 15-minute, the last two swings have some divergence as well. So there's a good amount of divergence in this pair. If it starts to break lows with some impulsive moves, like just structure right here, you can see where it's probably going to head towards. So if it does do something like this, I think that's a good opportunity. We see the 1 hour structure. Yeah, the 1 hour structure is right there as well. So I would need to see this break, and I would like to see it break pretty good. And if it could break this 50 EMA as well, that would be a lot more confirmation, retest, and then come down into this area of volume. So that's what I'm looking at for UJ. I'm not looking to buy into this anymore because of all the divergence. Only reason I wanted to buy yesterday is because I saw this stop hunt low and then a move up. If it would have came back into the stop hunt, then I would have looked for the move up, but it didn't. So it's all good. I'm waiting for this pretty much, this to me looks like a little stop hunt move. And if it does start to break these structure levels, we can look for something like that. Even maybe like a head and shoulders might be valid on UJ tomorrow. UChef is acting a little funny, so the CHF is pretty weak apparently. So this was the setup from yesterday, from the swing high to low. It missed the 61.8 like maybe by a pip, and then ended up kind of making these equal lows. Equal lows did give divergence, so that would have been a good area to, you know, take some profit right there as it was wicking down. You know, ultimately it could just keep swinging down right here. But I'm not loving that idea, to be honest. I would need to see it kind of come up a little higher, I think, and then fall. I'm probably not going to play UChef at all tomorrow. And if UChef really starts to like take off to the upside, I'll have to watch for some type of divergence, and even maybe some type of a harmonic in this area could be valid as well. That 78.6 doesn't look bad, but these equal highs right here look like they're going to get hit, and then the market's going to do what it wants to do. So on the 4 hour, this still has room to correct to hit this 50 EMA, and ultimately I want it to still correct way down, way down. So you can see this area right here where there is literally like no volume. So if we do break here, we should fall pretty fast. So I'm not a sell stop, buy stop type trader, but I will look, if those lows get taken out, I will look for some type of lower time frame pullback to try to get into some type of position to the downside, something like this, and then take it all the way down here. You see a lot of volume in right here. So sorry about that. Decline that. Okay. And then, I mean, these equal highs look like they're going to get taken. And if it does something like this and then drops, that's definitely a good play to look for to the downside. Takes the liquidity, comes back up into this area, and then drops. That's definitely something to look for. EG. So, as I mentioned yesterday with EG, I said I was in a buy. Price was literally doing a dance over here. It was dancing right here yesterday, and this was the setup, right? Swing high to swing low. Price came down. I said I was iffy on it, but I was in it. I was rocking it out, and it ended up going a good amount of pips for me. I got 2%. I got 2% off the trade, but I took profit, half of my profit, so I only ended up getting 1%. And it came down and broke me even. So just kind of reviewing that trade real quick. This is on the higher time frame, that 61.8. And honestly, honestly, with the candle it gave yesterday, it looks like we're coming down into the 78.6 off of this bigger swing. So I'm not looking to like rebuy or get into another buy. This does look like a lot of bearish pressure, and price could fall. I'm going to delete this demand area. Just based off of yesterday's wick, you can see nice wick. I think this is going to end up falling down into this area, finally getting into this imbalanced area. On the 4-hour, there's not really a setup in my opinion with it. If you were going to play a setup, it would have been from this swing to this swing, and how it came off that 61.8. That was like a TP area for me, and then it dropped. I would like to see it actually end up doing this and start to drop. On the 1-hour, it's a very ugly, impulse kind of correction move. I'm not seeing anything really nice with EG right now. Maybe that little type move right there, and this type move right there, it's kind of wedging out or giving a little triangle, but other than that, I don't really see any setups with it. Even on the 15-minute, it just kind of looks a little too choppy. And the way I describe choppy is when the market makes multiple impulses in back-to-back, pretty much, to where you don't really know where it's going, and it just starts going kind of sideways. So these are the type of markets I don't really try to get into any trades, even if I see like a possible trade opportunity. When the market looks like that, it lowers the probability to where it doesn't really make me want to get in it too much. Like I said, yesterday I was playing this swing to this swing, and the retracement, I was looking for a possible move up, but then once it started to do all this, it broke me even and just going sideways. At that point, for intraday trader like myself, it's not really something I want to really invest in. So EG is not really a good look today. Okay, GJ. GJ is in this little swing spot that I looked at the beginning of the week, and I took this swing. I could do it from right here, but I took it from the impulsive move off of the 4-hour. So you can see where the MACD really fell out right here. That's where I have this swing started from, pretty much right there. And we're in that area, and we're throwing some wicks. And you can see the high volume in this area as well. Price might make one more move up and then take off to the downside. That's what I'm looking for. This other red zone up here is a higher time frame supply area. So that's why I'm kind of in favor of this falling, just because it rejected so nicely off of this supply up here. And then now we've retraced. The volume has kind of gotten a little bit lower. You see how it was higher on the sells, and now we're kind of getting lower on the move up. So to me, that's kind of showing possibility of a little volume divergence right here. And I like to see that on a pullback. Also, the 1-hour is giving some nice divergence. So it's kind of giving me some signals that this could fall tomorrow or even tonight during London. It is a swing, definitely. It's not a intraday move, so I don't love that. I don't really love to play the swing because it might take a couple days for it to really, play out. Let me see. Yeah, the stop loss on this would be like 90 pips. And the overall, first take profit, I always look for 2 to 1 if I'm playing that 78.6. So the first take profit would be like 180 pips. That usually takes more than one day to happen. Sometimes on GJ it doesn't, but ultimate targets would be all the way down into these areas for like that 6.5 to 1. So let me just mark these off and see where that goes on to the left. Let's see if that's, oh yeah, that's a nice little area right here. You can see these lows lines up perfectly with those lows. Let me see the volume, what the volume's really talking about. Let me get some more price in here. Let me go to the 4-hour and throw some volume. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, the volume profile is way bigger to the downside than it is to the upside. So even though we're in a really bullish market, that's kind of giving me some possibility that the market might want to drop. When I go onto like the lower time frame market profile, you see that there's still a good amount of volume up here for a price that maybe want to come get to. So that's pretty close to my stop. That's why I'm saying I don't want to play the swing. Usually I play limit orders when I see very nice impulsive moves. But also, I don't really love to see this type of impulsive move for the correction. So, excuse me. So I do like to see the divergence. What I would love to see ultimately is one more move down and then another move up. If it can create this three-wave pattern that I like to look for, then once the market gets into this, then I will actually look to play the swing on a lower, lot size, and then try to add on to it if it drops, right? Because this is showing clear volume up into this area. It could hold. It doesn't have to get all the way up into the highest volume. You can see like right here, it's pretty much where we're at. It can hold right here and then start to drop again. So overall though, if this starts to like show any signs of impulsive moves down, it's gonna be an area where I'm gonna look for trading opportunities. And if it does do this and then makes another move up, then I'm definitely gonna look for that type of move right there, for it to come into that. So let me bring out this tool actually, the 3 drives pattern. So 1, 2, and this came up to here. I want it to come down and then come up again to that 1618 extension and then start to drop out. So let me bring this onto white. That should be good. Nope. Let's make the label black. There we go. So that's what I'm looking for on GJ. Kind of leaning towards the downside, basically. And I'd like to see some of these other GBP pairs lean towards the downside. Oh, very nice. Okay, so I didn't have much to say about GA yesterday, but I did mark this up earlier today, and so I'll be looking for that. Let me just check the daily to see how that looks first. Let me hide this. And if anyone has any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Okay, yeah, so I'm definitely looking to play the downside tomorrow on GA. You can see this candle. We got that nice rejection. And there was some divergence here. So I do see a possible correction happening at the very least. Same thing with the 4-hour. You can see this, I can just move this up. You can see the divergence there. The momentum is starting to fall to the downside a little bit. And on the 1-hour, the momentum kind of actually has broken to the downside with the slow line being bearish. So when that slow line breaks through here, that's giving me overall trend ideas for the downside. And just the major divergence that was on this is pretty obvious. So at this point, I do think we're going to see another move down on GA. And I'm going to wait for it to come into this area. So I'm going to put an alert at the 61.8. You can see yesterday's volume is right below the 61.8. So this looks like a pretty good setup for tomorrow. One of my favorite looking setups tonight, actually. And for me on this, if I don't really see any other type of setups tonight, that great of setups, I'm going to probably play some at the 61.8 and look to target down here. And then also at the 78.6, just so I can get a better average risk to reward. So something like this will be what I'll be looking for tomorrow, right? So pretty much a 6-to-1 and a 3-to-1. So if you average that out, what's that? 9 divided by 2, blah, blah, blah. Isn't that like 4.5, 4, something like that. So looking for that type of move on. It might just go without me, to be honest. So hopefully it doesn't. Let me check that 15-minute real quick. Yeah, it's kind of picking up some volume right now on this candle. Either way, I'm going to wait on it. Hopefully it gets there. If not, then screw you. Okay, yesterday on EA spoke about the stop hunt that I thought was happening. And it looks like we got that good stop hunt. So this looks like it's going to continue to the downside tomorrow as well. Talk about that stop hunt move in a second. Not seeing much except like this kind of triple top M formation. This zone here would need to break to see another leg down into maybe this type of area. Okay, volume is kind of picking up right here more than anything, but it could head all the way down to the bottom. See, not a lot of interest there. On the 1 hour, it has a similar setup. It does. So let me check the 15-minute. This was where I was looking at that stop hunt yesterday. The volume right here as price was moving up was not very big at all. And we were getting close to these highs. And I said, if these highs get broken with low volume, probably going to see a drop. And it did. It took that out, and then it took structure out. So this was actually a missed opportunity that I didn't see yesterday during trading hours, because then it did break structure. It did come back up. So this move right here would have honestly been a perfect setup off the 78.6. It probably would have missed my entry anyway because of spreads, but it came into the 78.6 and is dropping nice. This type of impulse down, I don't really want to play this one. I really want to focus on GA rather than EA. So, but this does look like if it falls, we're coming down at least to 1.5767. Okay, gold on the daily. Let's see what we got. Gold's been kind of chopping slow down here a little bit. See, it didn't have much movement yesterday. Overall, you know, I'm still bearish on it. I want it to correct up and then come down. So if I see some type of bullish opportunity, I'm not going to be afraid to play that because I do want it to come up a pretty good amount. It does look like there's a good amount of volume down in here right now. That's what you get when you see a range though. And then you can see the lack of volume right here. So if price does start to move up, it probably will move up relatively fast. Or it'll just sink again. On the 1 hour, right, it's pretty sideways. I do see the possibility of a little Wyckoff going on right here. So if it sinks down tomorrow like this and then comes back up, look for this to make a move to the upside. That's all I got to say about gold because it's so sideways. It's not really, other than the Wyckoff setup, it's not really doing much. Okay, the VIX is so undecisive, it's crazy. I spoke about it yesterday. Whenever you get a big bullish candle, the next kind of day is bearish because it's been doing that for a while. Every time there's a nice bull candle, next day is kind of bearish. And we'll see if it holds at this level right here. Right, it kind of rejected down in those prices almost. So, you know, if you want to fib this from here to here, it's actually in a good swing spot to go back to the upside. Momentum, slow line is still up. It's pointing down, but it's still up. If the momentum starts to turn around, this is going to do something like that. On the 1 hour, if there's some divergence, which there is not, I was going to say then I'll probably be more bullish. A little bit of divergence on the 15 minute, so I like to see that for the upside. If y'all know me, I'm pretty much bearish on the indices almost all the time. Just to only look for bearish movements because they're at all-time highs. I don't really care for buying into them. So it's not giving me a whole lot. I'm seeing the possibility of it to go to the upside tomorrow, but it's probably going to come down a little bit first if it's going to do that. I would need to see some structure really form or like an impulsive move to give me some confidence that this is going to move up. So NASDAQ, let's go to the daily. NASDAQ is just making all-time highs. And with the candle that it formed yesterday, it's pretty hard to want to sell against that, to be honest. But the divergence, it's still there. So I'm not looking to buy anything, right? Big divergence off of this swing and this swing. I'm not looking to buy it, but yeah, the big bullish candle right here, breaking the all-time highs, it is what it is. These things are just built to go higher and higher and higher, honestly. So I'm not seeing any type of bearish setup really besides, you know, the major divergence. So if I take my divergence fibs out, divergence, and I set it up, maybe right here will be an area that it could fall at. If it starts to reverse there, then I'm going to look for maybe a correction back to the 50 EMA. I don't really love that setup. Let me see how this one's looking. Okay, I would have to extend this to there at this point. And yeah, I said yesterday how on the opening bell that this should fall. It didn't quite fall right off the opening bell, but it ended up giving a little tap down and then moved up. And it's in an area where there was manipulation. So this was the manipulative move. And if, you know, price makes some type of bearish move right here, I do think we're going to get a little fall into at least this area down in here. Probably maybe just into that. But there's definitely divergence as well on this. You know, 1 hour, not going to buy into anything. 15 minute, it's got the divergence as well. So it's got this ugly little rising, slow rising wedge. Not really a rising wedge or anything, but it's just kind of slowly grinding up, showing that the momentum could be dying. So let me check the same. This looks exactly the same, and this actually has hit our 78.6, so it's at a swing area with good volume in it. US 30. Yesterday it gave a doji, so we could see this drop. When I look at it on the daily, I want to actually move this to that. So, but you can see the 50 EMA. If we start to hold under that, I do think there's some downside possibility. This is what they call hidden divergence. So we do have a nice move up in the MACD, but price is still, you know, making lower lows right here technically. So it does have a sign that this could fall. Definitely has a sign that it could fall. I think a better move would be to wait on like a 15-minute structure, because if it does fall, it should swing down a little bit. It shouldn't just do one little drop and then kind of pop back up. Like it should do something like, honestly, like this. It should give it an opportunity to where when it falls, you can catch it to let it fall again. And you see there's not a lot of volume here, so if it does break below this, it should come into these type of areas. It should come down a little bit more. And this is a pretty big swing, even if I was taking it from here. This is where the fib was originally, I believe. So even if I was taking it from right there, it would need, it's a big swing to the downside. You know, I have price coming possibly all the way down into, let's see here, all the way down into these levels, which is that 200 EMA basically. So all the way down into the 200. But that makes sense. Once it breaks the 50 EMA, it goes to the next magnet, which is the 200 EMA. And I call EMAs magnets sometimes because you can see how they be playing like magnets. Okay, I really just wanted to get into Bitcoin like the whole time because this is interesting. Very interesting. So yesterday I said I don't like the look of this, right? I specifically was talking about the 50 and the 200 death cross. I don't love that, but I said there's three things that could make me be possibly bullish on Bitcoin, okay? One of them was the crossing of the 50 and the 200 EMA on the 1 hour. So I need to see something like this to be more long-term confident. And of course, we didn't get that yet. The second thing that I said is I need to see some bullish structure form. And I was talking about, I believe, this area right here breaking. Well, we did just get that break. So that's one confirmation. The other confirmation that I said is this area right here that I have marked off. I said if that breaks and then comes back into the range, that could be a Wyckoff spring. So go back and listen to that yesterday. We have a very beautiful possibility of a Wyckoff spring right here. Now, that would mean that this thing is about to start to pick up and probably get to, at the very least, these prices at the 40K, 38K. That's what I'm thinking. And then once it gets into that, if it breaks through that, then I can almost, I don't want to say guarantee, but I can almost guarantee that we're going to see something like this and then a major move to the upside again. A sign of strength is what it's called. Okay, so this is the spring. Let me go down to the 15 minutes so we can really see what's going on. That's the spring right there. And then what you want to see to confirm a test. Obviously, you're going to have high volume on a spring because there was a big move. Okay, but what you want to see on a test is low volume. Okay, that's exactly what this was. This was the test back into the range. And look at the volume. Extremely, extremely low. So to me, and then you're getting a sign of strength right here on the move up. So to me, guys, I'm looking for Bitcoin to possibly start to move to the upside, to be honest. It looks like it has a chance. You know, it came all the way down to 28.6. Let's put an exact price on this. Price label. See if the magnet will catch me. No, I don't think it will on this tool for some reason. So I'll just drop it right there. 28,600 is where this price at the wick was at, the lowest. And we've already within, let's make an exact price and date range. We've already moved up 20% from that. So if you would have bought this scary low, which I literally did buy some Ethereum, Matic, and another token at this low price, you've already made 20% on your money, which is phenomenal, right? That's showing me that there's a possibility, at the very least, that this could go to the upside. Now, I don't want to say it's going to break 40K yet, because it definitely hasn't, but it definitely held at the 30K, 31K area. So that's a major fake out. We had like the little inverted head and shoulders, and then the move to the upside. So I know the that Bitcoin kind of moved a little bit nicer. Oh wow, there we go. So yeah, these guys are looking interesting. So it actually dipped into the 61.8 on the weekly. You can see from this very swing low to this very swing high. It dipped into that 61.8 and it rejected really nicely. I was talking about all of the volume or the divergence on all of them on the higher time frames. So the possibility was there. If it gives this type of pattern, I know we still have 21 hours of this daily candle, but if it gives this type of pattern right here, I'm definitely expecting this to move to the upside. Not 100%, but I have a very good chance that this could run up. And it just, simply the fact that it held the support right here, simply the fact that it held that area of demand and it moved up so quickly is giving me some type of hope. Now, of course, honestly, it's easy to analyze this right now, because if it breaks these lows, at this point, after all these tries, if it breaks these lows now, we're falling. I'm talking falling. Probably all the way to 12 to 600, to be honest. So, the first, I would really look for it to get to like just 10K or 1,000. But I mean, when you look at the lower time frames, this looks like this demand area, like it did in the past, is holding. And so I would, first sign, that I always say is break a structure. It looks like we got a lower high, higher high set in. So the structure on the 1 hour could be set in at this point. On the 4 hour, we would really need to see, the likes of 2,250 get broken. And then ultimately, it's still in a range to where 2,800, 2,900 area hasn't gotten broken yet. So that would definitely need to break. And then even in the middle of this, you can just put one in the middle, right? You can see the reaction in the middle of a range is pretty strong as well. So even it would really need to get above the middle of the range to really be confident, right? But if it starts to break above these EMAs, if this starts to cross up, it's pretty far away now, but if it starts to cross up, that's a really good look for these to start to move to the upside. Okay, and then Litecoin is doing the same thing, pretty much. And hopefully this isn't just a lame-ass pullback and then they just tank so hard again. Because if that, like I said, if that happens, these are going to fall. They're probably not going to do this type of move. This is either the last test of demand and everyone was interested, so the demand is in and the buyers are about to really take over. Or if it slips through here, there wasn't enough demand and we're going to the downside. XRP finally kind of held its little spot. It was lagging a little bit, testing the demand a little bit more. You can see it hasn't really came back up into its range that it was in. So I feel like XRP is a little bit behind right now, but that's okay. That's actually a good opportunity to maybe look to buy it, but not on margin. I wouldn't buy any of these on margin right now. Don't even think about trading these on MetaTrader. I didn't buy it on MetaTrader. I bought it on Coinbase, not XRP, but I bought some Ethereum on Coinbase at around, I think it was like 18 something. So I wish I caught the very bottom. I think this has moved almost 20% as well from the bottom up. Yeah. So they're doing really nice right now. If it's just a correction, like I said, it's going to tank. If not, we're going to start seeing higher highs and higher lows in the crypto market, and ultimately I want to see it come up into this top of the range. So that's it for today. I try to go a little bit faster on these. How's it, bro? Is ETH still valid for the buy? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't buy it on any type of, what's it called, MetaTrader accounts. But if you were looking for a buy on MetaTrader, which I don't advise, I would wait for it to come down a little bit, tap that 50 EMA on the 15-minute, look to hold here, and then move to the upside. You can see a little bit of structure starting to form, and that looks like a really good setup, to be honest. Got the nice move in the momentum, everything is lining up, in my opinion, for this to start to move to the upside. So that's it, like I said, for today, guys. I appreciate y'all for coming on. Want to see this dollar really start to do its thing a little bit. It's corrective, so it's not great. GA is going to be the one that I focus on tomorrow. Hopefully it gets up in there, and if it doesn't, then I'm going to just try to throw some risk on some of these other setups, maybe some of these dollar pairs, maybe try to catch a sell on some of these indices, but that's even risky. So a little bit of a risky market tomorrow, to be honest, just only because the dollar just looks corrective instead of impulsive. Got to wait for it to come down a little bit. So all of these pairs, you know, they're valid, but they're just corrective. All of them, they're very corrective looking. Even, I mean, UJ doesn't look good, but you can see it's starting to, that stop hunt looks real. Let me see GJ. Yeah, GJ, I want to see this kind of start to drop too. We'll see how the market goes tomorrow. I'm not loving it, so we'll see. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Most devs should wait for the retracement. Holding the sell on GJ. Nice, nice, nice. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace out.